I don't go through the Passion with Jesus. No, for me, and maybe for you too, I go through the Passion with the resurrected Christ, the mighty Christ, the glowing Christ, the Christ that walks on water and surmounts 10-ton tombstones. And then what captures my attention during the week? The crucifixion. Easter? Easter is simply an afterthought, an expectation. But that's all wrong. Easter is not an expectation. Jesus' life leads to the cross. The cross is the expectation. The cross is to be taken for granted. The Jesus who will be crucified, that is the obscene Jesus. The Jesus who washes dirty feet. The Jesus who eats with sinners. The Jesus who touches lepers. The Jesus who blesses the prostitute. The Jesus who speaks truth amidst tyranny. We know where that life leads, and Good Friday is only a confirmation. Jesus' crucifixion is the norm, the expectation. And we need to see it that way to make sense of our world or the hope for resurrection in our own lives. If you follow the news, or if you play the odds, or if you just walk outside, you ought to be a pessimist about what we've got going on in this world. Lord knows I am. I've got no hope. All I see is nuclear destruction, war-ravaged nations, oppressed minorities, unloved babies, damaged relationships. I know where all this is headed. You've got some of that darkness in your life too? Welcome to the Passion Week. Here, we need to transplant all this pessimism and negativity into our journey through the Passion. When we're truly destitute and hopeless, then we're ready to walk with Jesus. Then we're ready to absorb the shock and the absurdity of what awaits us a week from now. The news that our worldview is not final, death is not final. The news that the love of God penetrates and overcomes and shocks all of creation. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a German theologian in the first half of the 20th century who was executed for plotting against the Nazi regime. Bonhoeffer wrote majestically about the difference between cheap grace and costly grace. I am a connoisseur of cheap grace when I yawn through the Passion, expect the resurrection, and on Easter Sunday mumble the H word. Hallelujah. Cheap grace leaves you unchanged and unfeeling. Cheap grace is grace that is assumed and managed and orderly. Costly grace, though. Costly grace shocks us and rips into the unlikeliest corners of our life. You don't ration or control costly grace. It smacks you and unsettles you and disarms you. Costly grace appears in the unexpected and the uncontained, in the shock of Easter morning, or more simply, in the furious and overflowing tears of a little boy who graciously gets to eat the lunch his mother brought for him. Costly grace is the grace of Jesus Christ, the grace found in the unlikeliest places of the Passion Week. Position yourselves to be shocked by God's costly grace and enter the Passion Week with your afflictions. Don't turn away from the threatening and unsettling nature of this week. Don't bank on or prepare for anything. Instead, carry along all your sorrow, all the world's sorrow, and lay them at the feet of the one whose words shape this world. My God, why have you forsaken me? And in this despair, wait. Wait for the grace of God. The costly grace, the shocking grace, the absurd grace. And come Easter, let this grace invade the darkest tombs of your